Welcome back to this boring international break. Craig, how are we doing, mate?
Doing all right.
It's international, isn't it? So, Craig, let's hit us off, mate.
Well, today we're joined by a special guest, Simon Johnson. How are you doing,
Hi,
Simon?
hi, lad. You okay? Everything's all good this end, mate.
Yeah, good, good. So, nice to have you on. And just a bit of background is I met you at a charity game, didn't I? And we were playing on the same team, which we got robbed. But yeah,
That's one way of looking at it.
yeah. So we thought we'd get you on and have a little chat. So yeah, do you want to kick it off? I don't know. What's your feelings on this season? Now the transfer window's ended.
So far, or just on the whole?
Yeah, so far. Yeah.
To be honest, I'm pretty happy with probably bar the Chef Wed game. But I think those you just lose. You just can't win in those games. So I don't really read too much into that. But I mean, I was buzzing with the first win against Everton. I thought we played all right in that game, to be fair. Showed some good signs. But I think just the result was massive for the group, just to sort of have that little bit of belief that we're going to be okay this year, you know. So I thought that was a really important result for us. Obviously, the Arsenal game, I don't think, well, I would imagine not too many people give us a thumbs up for that one. Probably could have made it a little bit more respectable, but I think Arsenal can do that to any team on their day, to be honest. So, again, that's one that I didn't really read too much into it. And to pick up a point against Newcastle that I think, I'm not sure if it was the game before, absolutely played Arsenal off the park at times. I think 0-0 was a really good return for that game too. So I'm really happy and content with where we're at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
Is any of the new signings then that we've signed that you're looking forward to or you've been impressed by so far?
Do you know what? This might surprise you a little bit because I know he's only had a few minutes so far, but I was really sceptical about the Dominic Calvin-Lewin. God, easy for me to say. That signing anyway. Obviously, because of his history with injuries, etc. But when he come on, was it against Newcastle? My memory's not great, by the way, just throwing that out there. He come on in one of the games and he showed a bit of movement and got a shot off. Maybe could have gone across goal a little bit more. But I looked at that movement, and obviously I look at strikers probably a little bit more in depth than other areas in the pitch. And I thought to myself, do you know what? If we can keep this guy fit, his goal scoring record's not bad. If we can keep this guy fit and get him a little bit more in a better physical condition, like he could be a massive signing for us this season. And just that little bit of movement that I've seen in that moment, that's what sort of swayed me to start thinking like that. But he's been a decent player over the years, and I think he's actually somebody that we probably needed.
Yeah. We've lacked that cutting edge up front, haven't we? Really, for a few seasons now since Bamford started getting injured a lot. With his injuries, and Calvert-Lewin's Premier League quality, and he's you can see it in him.
Yeah, he's proven, and it's not even that. He's just a presence up there, and he's going to unsettle defenders. And I think sometimes that gets probably not blowing my own trumpet here. I think it just gets a little bit overlooked at times. Those kind of attributes, because he can move centre halves about, which obviously creates openings for other players in other areas. So, you know, I really do think if we can keep him fit, he could be probably pick of the signings this season.
Yeah, I agree.
But I've not seen many shouts for DCL being like one of the top signings. Obviously, you do see his movement. His movement is a lot more agile and more quicker than what Pirro is. We've had many discussions about Pirro's just now and out poacher, but you can see it with Dominic, that especially that Newcastle game, the one that you described, where he just walked across it. The same when he came on against Sheffield Wednesday, when he just went wide. His movement, you can tell the difference in quality between Dominic Calvert-Lewin and a Pirro. It's just miles apart, in it, really.
Yeah. I mean, I love Perot. I love what he's done for us, but is he going to make a difference for us in this league? I just don't see it. I really don't see it, and that's probably quite a harsh assessment, but yeah, I'm very sort of open and transparent with my thoughts, and that's just the way I see it with Perot. I don't feel like he'll score us the goals to keep us in this league. If he was our number 9 for the season.
I've said the same thing, Simon, that with Perot, it's a case of, for him to score goals in the Premier League, he needs someone to do the creativity work behind him. Like, that number 10 or the wingers that can create the chances. If he's in the box, if the chance comes to him in the box, he'll score all day long. But because his finishing's really good, but it's just, if he receives the ball outside the area, far away from goal, he's not taking players on, and he's not pulling defenders apart.
No,
and creating this. So
it's a totally different ball game to the Championship.
Yeah.
Like totally.
Yeah.
It's like the smaller detail.
You've played in both, haven't you? You've played in both.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there is times when I only played a few games in the Premier League, but the little time I did get there, it's just the time, the space, it's just not there. Or, your thought process has to be so much quicker. The guys at your opposition are a lot stronger, a lot quicker as well. So it's just it's a totally different ball game. I don't think his speed of thought's there for the Premier League to be a real asset. And then obviously his physical attributes. You don't possess great speed. Like you don't shift the ball like anywhere near as efficient as he needs to for the Premier League. That's just the way I'll read it up.
That'll bring us nicely into that then, won't it? Go on, Mike, what were you saying?
I was going to say, although Craig's hot take was that he'd be in the top 10 scorers in the Premier League this season.
It's a hot take.
Just put it out there, just to remind people of that prediction show. Anyway, Craig, back to what you were about to say.
No, but that's what I was going to say. That'll bring us nice on, because you've played with some good players over the years, especially in that Leeds team. Some fantastic players. So what we'd like you to do, Simon, is can you name us like the best 11 that you've played with?
With at Leeds?
Altogether in your like in your whole career.
Just with or for now or against too, sorry.
Oh, you can choose the best 11 with or against.
Okay, that's still a spanner in the works.
If it makes it easier just to play with, then
yeah, I'll go with.
Because probably if you pick against, there's some big players in there.
I was gonna say, it'd be like I would have to go. I did like Robbo, but I think Nigel Martin was probably just my opinion again. A little bit of a level above in his prime, I love Nigel Martin, very good keeper, very dry sense of humour, but it was they're all bloody weird, goalkeepers. You must know that. You've heard that before, right? Honestly, proper strange guys, man. Left back, I would 100% say Harty. I loved him. Do you know what it was about? You don't mind me elaborating on these guys, do you?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah,
so go ahead. Give some stories.
Yeah, so Harty was when I first moved up to Leeds as a schoolboy, Harty lived in the same digs as me because he was literally just coming through. And to be fair, what a bloke. I mean, he'd obviously, I think his wage had increased somewhat, and like he just used to give like the schoolboys like pairs of shoes and stuff like that. I mean, he gave me a pair of shoes, and I wore them for school. But there was something called Patrick Cox also. I'd never heard of them before. I don't know if you guys remember them. And it was like over £100 shoes. Like I've never seen this kind of money spent on shoes before. You know, so he was a great guy. But what a left foot he had. I don't think he was the greatest of defenders, and he'd probably say that to himself. But how he defended with the pace that he had, for me, was brilliant. Because listen, I think off the top of my head, I can remember him getting done off Kieran Dyer a couple of times. But there's not many games where I've thought to myself, bloody hell, he's just been absolutely. There's not that many. The goals he used to score from free kicks are just outrageous.
He had a one of a left foot, didn't he?
This is going to be a really unpopular one, but I have to put it in. Rio Ferdinand. Did you know that was coming, Mike?
Yeah. I thought that was going to come. If you take the the fan emotion out of it, he was a good defender, especially at Leeds.
I think only played one game, but I used to watch him in training, and I trained obviously on more occasions in training. Bloody hell, like he could have stuck him literally anywhere on the pitch, and he would have dealt with it like that, no problem. His ability was just crazy for a centre half. I'd never seen anything like it. So yeah, he was special. He was special, very good. Obviously, he had a mistake in him, but on the whole, what a player. Right back, I would have to go Gary Kelly. Gary Kelly was a great player. We did have a young boy called that. Do you remember Fraser Richardson?
Yeah.
Fraser was. I'll come through with Fraser. He's the same age, and I thought he was unreal. I thought, God, I don't want to say this because it's a bit pot kettle, but I really feel like he underachieved for how good he was. Fraser was he was probably the best player in our age group, in my opinion. But yeah, I think when he had to get past Gary Kelly. Found himself in a similar position to me, to be honest. Like, he had Gary Kelly, Danny Mills. Like, he's just not going to dislodge those guys, So it was a tough gig for him, tough ass. Other centre half, it's got to be Radaby, ain't it?
That's you've got to say, we're hoping. I'm thinking then, I'm like, come on, back to you.
It's got to be Radaby. I mean, have you ever met him?
Yeah,
Luca?
Yeah. Not for long. I've said hi in passing. I'm not spoken.
Just such a nice person, and I'm to be honest, this is gonna. I don't know if this sounds weird, but I haven't got much faith in humans, to be honest. Like, I'm just not really. I keep myself to myself. I don't really like people. Him, honestly, what a bloke. So nice, genuine, just a lovely guy, and what a player as well.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never met him, Simon. But what you say about him like that, I do have him on social media as a friend, and he does comment now and again and reply to messages. So he is a nice guy like that. So I get where you're coming from. You just confirm that.
Everybody loved him. He's one of them. He's one of them guys that no one can have a bad word to say. There's not many of them about, but you'd struggle to find someone to say a bad word about him. This is tough. The midfield gets tough, The midfield gets tough because there might be a few surprises in there. I've got to put him in. I'm putting him in
What
first.
formation are you going to go for?
This is why it's interesting, because for you've played with him, we just watch him, so this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, I'm basing it on the formation that was played when I was there.
Right.
So that 4-4-2, rigid 4-4-2. The first player I'm putting in is in centre midfield, Stephen McPhail. Just my opinion. If he was playing at that time, if he was playing in Spain, This is weird that we're doing this actually, because I'm not a stalker or anything, but I actually watched his assist on his debut against Derby on YouTube the other day. I don't know why or how I got there. But yeah, do you remember that, any of you? On his debut against Derby away.
Yeah.
And he come on
Bit.
and assisted Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, and the pass was just like perfect. But that's what he was capable of. And like I said, for me, if he played in Spain in that era and around that time, he would have been an absolute superstar. I'm convinced of that. Special player he was.
He came through the rank. He came through the ranks as a special player, though, didn't he? He was touted. I think it was just because our midfield were that good, and then it is. I think due to the stuff that was going off behind the scenes, he probably just didn't get the chance that he should have got. But yeah, I remember him was like supposedly the next biggest thing.
Yeah.
So,
he was such a talented boy, man. I love playing with him. That's when I scored the most goals when I played in games where Maka was playing, because I just used to run off the back of players all the time, and he would find you. It wouldn't be an issue for him. So yeah, that's when I had my little run of form. It was down to him, really. Yeah. Centre mid. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to put him. D'accord.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You happy with that one?
Yeah. He was special, weren't he? He was really good.
I was Dacor's boot boy, so I was obviously going to be fond of him because he looked after me at Christmas.
Yeah.
But I think, do you know what? I think he was a little bit underrated, but for him to even get anywhere near that France squad during that time, just for me, that shows you, it tells you all you need to know. Because it was unreal. That France squad was unreal. He was never getting anywhere near starting, but he'd come on in games and he would make little starts here and there. But for me, just to get anywhere near the France squad at that time, just he's never going to dislodge Petit and Vieira, but he could play, man. He could play. I remember probably during the back end of his time at Leeds, and he weren't getting on with the management team. I don't recall who it was, to be honest, but he weren't getting on with the management team. That was pretty evident, and he had to play a reserve game. It was against Birmingham, actually, against Blues, and McPhail played, and it was just like Milner played. It was just a mismatch. Like, those guys, you could just tell. And Blues had a decent team out as well. For reserve team level, and it was just an absolute mismatch. That Maka and Decor just like, and you could tell there was probably working at about 50% as well. But yeah, Decor was. I thought he was outstanding for the first team. I thought he was brilliant, really good. Right side of midfield. Yeah, I'm going to put him. I'm going to have to go Lennon.
Aaron Lennon, yes.
Is it just from Leeds or just in general? By the way,
just in general. But if you want to go all Leeds, that it'd be,
Yeah, we'll go all Leeds. Lennon for me. Do you know what? We was a little bit of a story here, and again, but just being open and transparent. I knew with what was coming up from the younger age groups that my time to make an impression with the first team group was limited, because he was coming through. We would go over. So opposite Thorpe Arch. Was it Thorpe Arch? I can't recall where it was. Anthony Lennon, Aaron's brother, was a year older than me, and he played for Leeds as well. And on a Sunday, we used to have to live in digs at Thorpe Arch, and on a Sunday, Aaron used to be playing for, like, I think it'd be the under-12s, something like that, something ridiculous. He was 12 and he was playing for the 14, something like that. And we used to go and watch him on a Sunday. They used to play on a Sunday morning. honestly, he was playing against kids at maybe a year or two older than him, and he was just literally picking the ball up and just running down the whole pitch, crossing or scoring himself. And I just thought, for fuck's sake, man, this is just my luck. I've got all these pricks in front of me that are unreal, and I've also got the kids that beneath me that are unreal. So I've got probably a year, 18 months max to try and do something here, because I knew, yes, Lenny was pretty special as a young kid, and to be fair, he had a great career, a really good career.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your? Do you remember much about him?
Yeah, well, yeah. When he came through, I was like, you could see he was some. Well, he had all the attributes that I like as a player anyway, because it's how I based my game on it. He's like, speed and how quick he was, and the things he could do. He was skillful, but I think it was just at the wrong time for Leeds, weren't it? Because everything that Leeds were going through around that time, it was kind of like we had to sell him, and we couldn't keep hold of him. Now, if that wasn't happening, and we could have kept, I think like a player like Lennon would have stayed at Leeds.
100%. Yeah, I think he said that in either a podcast or an interview somewhere. Is it Ken Bates, if my memory serves me correct? That someone put him on a crazy contract. Have you seen that interview or that? Yeah. Someone put him on a crazy contract, which ultimately meant it was the end of his days at Leeds, because they just, with the position the club was in, they just couldn't sustain paying that at all. So I think he was in a position, but if I remember correctly, I think he would have definitely preferred to stay. He's a bit of because he's obviously from Leeds as well. I think he liked being at home, and so.
That's one thing with players like that. I see. It's like, although he went on and had a good career anyway, I think that if he stayed at Leeds, it would have been greater. If that makes sense.
100%. If we didn't have to go through all the bullshit that we did at that time, and he was coming through, and we were still competing, bloody hell. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, fair statement. Left side, he played here a bit. I'm almost certain he did. Milner.
Yeah.
What a bloke. Do you know what? Funny kid, really funny. He don't do it anymore, but a few years back, I think it was around COVID time, he used to be on maybe Twitter quite a lot. Was there a page, Boring Milner or something like?
Yeah,
he was doing. Yeah, that's it. Or jigsaw puzzles or some crazy. He was doing videos and it was hilarious. That's how I remember him. He was like, he had a real dry sense of humour, but he was a funny bloke, Sometimes quiet, but he was only a babber. He was only like 16, when he comes through. But I think that goal he scored against Chelsea was the beginning of him, and still playing today, and he's still at Brighton now. And for me, I'll run a footballing education program for 16 to 19-year-olds, and I always tell them, if you want to look at somebody, go and have a look at James Milner, because he's the perfect person or perfect player for you to go and learn off. Longevity, obviously ability. I mean, how old do you know? What is he, 38, 39?
Yeah, it's got to be something like that, isn't it? Now?
It's crazy. Crazy.
He could probably still play 90 minutes if you needed him to.
100%. He's probably still the fittest at the club. He was at Liverpool a couple of seasons ago, I remember.
Yeah. I seen the stat the other day that he scored against goalkeepers born in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and noughties as well. So constantly scoring goals against every single keeper from different decades. It's like, and he's only as of recording, about 19 games away from breaking the most amount of games played in the Premier League. He could do it this season, but if he played, I think it's 19, but I might be a couple out. But he's really close to breaking that record as well.
You know what? He really deserves that. I think it was a Villa fan I was speaking to about him the other day, and like every club he's been at, like he's done very well. Do you know what I mean? He's not been to a club and had a bad time. Yeah, he just hasn't, and then obviously he's got league titles under his belt with Man City. Was he there when Liverpool won it? I can't remember. But yeah, what a bloke. What a bloke.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, Simon, what things could have been like if we didn't go through that mess. Because
Scary
the
to
players,
think.
because another one, Milner, I don't think would have left.
No,
If you didn't,
this is what I'm saying. Yeah, it would have been. Them two. Yeah, bloody hell.
Leeds got destroyed. Didn't they? They got ripped apart from that. But
yeah, it's took a long while to claw back, but I think we're getting there now. I think we're getting there. I'm hoping this season will put us in a position where we're not going to be that yo-yo club. Just want to solidify a little bit and get that little bit of continuity now. But we should be all right. You're gonna have to help me out with Joe. I'm putting for Duke as one.
Obviously.
Oh yeah, I know you were going to pick that. It was class, though, wasn't it?
Do you know what? I think I don't know where I said this. I might have said it on social somewhere in the last fortnight or so. But I do think there was a period of time, 12 months, that he was the best striker in the world. I genuinely believe that there's nobody in world football that was better back to goal. No chance, no way. Because he was just manhandling like top defenders. They couldn't get near him, and he used to do this. He used to do this thing, and he'd do it in training, and nobody could stop it. He'd pin you, but if you got too close, he just used to do this Cruyff turn, but you weren't that quick. But as soon as he dropped the Cruyff turn, he was away from you, and he used to do it all the time. I think, yeah, definitely. I can't remember what year, but there was a year, maybe the year where he scored 4 against Liverpool. It might have been that season, but I can't remember if that aligns with the semi-final of the Champions League. I can't remember, but yeah, there was definitely a period of time where there weren't really a striker that was doing as well as him. Again, just opinion. That's a massive statement, isn't it? That is a massive statement,
but it was good. It were really, really good. And I think a lot of people looked at it as though it come from Celtic down to the Premier League, and not too many eyes were on him to think, it's a good signing this, and he surprised a lot of people. Especially, I mean, them games against like Liverpool and against like Arsenal, it's like, I think every now and again a player has them games, don't they, where they're untouchable.
Yeah,
and that's what he was like on that.
He was hell of a player to play with, because obviously I weren't great back to goal, so I could rely on him to do all that work, and I could concentrate on trying to get him behind, But yeah, he was outstanding. Oh, this last one is tough, I'm just going to reel off.
Who's it between them?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm just going to reel off the ones that it's between. So you got Smitho. I loved him because he come through. He made his debut. I think I was a schoolboy, and then that goal he scored against Liverpool. I loved his energy on the pitch, and I tried to take bits out of his game all the time. And do you know what? I don't know. I watch YouTube a lot, right? And I was watching a Manchester Reds game the other day. It was a Champions League one, and Smithy, and I was watching him more so than anybody else, and he was like outstanding. And I actually forgot how good he was. He was very good. Smithy was good. Robbie Fowler, Robbie Keane.
I think at Leeds he weren't the player that he was
previous
to that, were he? But
no.
But
I'm factoring like Robbie Fowler in training. This all because if I was a certain distance away from goal, I'm looking to try and generate a bit more power than I normally would. this guy just had no backlift, nothing, and it was just bottom corners, and it was like he does it to tease the keepers. Like, I'm gonna hit it this perfect speed, so you're gonna go for it, but you're not gonna be able to get there. And he just used to do it all the time, so often. Yeah, his finishing was like in training, scarily good. I've never seen anything like. Yeah.
Weren't he branded though as the most natural finisher that we've ever produced in England at one point?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think I don't think there can be any arguments there. To be fair.
Yeah. Who else you got then?
Michael Bridges.
Oh, man, you give some tough choices there.
This is what I'm saying. There's Harry Kewell. I know that's not a popular one. There's one more that I'm missing. Out of that group of players. You remember?
Did you Bower leave before you started breaking into
Yeah.
the first team?
Yeah.
What about Hasselbank? Was that just before you as well?
I was a schoolboy when Hasselbank was there, so I was only 15 when Hasselbank. There is one more out of that, and whoever it is, I'm really disappointed in myself, but I feel like there's one more. But anyway, I'm gonna Smither. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, it's a good choice. I mean, the Viduka and Smith during that Champions League campaign were a nightmare. So
there was just scoring freely. I mean, I remember was it Anderlecht they went away to in Gid 4? Was it 4? Sorry. Was it Anderlecht?
Yeah.
Or someone, and there was just like running teams over with ease, and it was just
well, they did it against Real Madrid, didn't they? Alan Smith were just terrorising people, like not on a technical level. He just bullied them. He just bullied people. He didn't seem to care about what people thought of him.
Yeah, and what his energy on the pitch, what he'd done, and this is. I actually got this off Smithy. I used to do it a lot. If you watch any old Leeds games back, right, you'll find Smithy sprinting about 50 yards as quick as he could, and he'll do a slide tackle either right in front of the dugout or right in front of the Leeds fans. But what it used to do, it used to get the atmosphere up. The internal players would then feed off that energy. And that's what, for me, he was like a real pivotal player in those success years, because I think the fans took to him so much. For me, it was disappointing that he went to Manchester Reds, but I suppose it is what it is. He's still got to go in my team, I think. Yeah. So there we have it, lads.
Yeah, it's a good team though, to be fair.
What about manager?
What
about the manager? What about the manager?
From Leeds?
Anybody. So if you have anybody you've worked under to manage that team, who would it be?
Okay, it would have been one person, and I'll mention him. It would have been him, but I feel like he let me down at the back end of my spell there. Eddie Gray. So Eddie Gray was really influential on me. I trained with the first team when I was 16, about two months after I started my YTS. And I think Eddie Gray was quite influential in that. But then later on, he put a lot of pressure on me, and he expected and demanded a lot from me. But that was only because of how I was performing, like early on as a 16-year-old. But then what happens is you start to feel that pressure a little bit more as you get older. As a 16-year-old, I was just playing so free-spirited. It was unbelievable. I was going onto the pitch and just playing really well. I've done well in the reserves, like a month or so into my YT. But then when you're 18, so injuries come back, and then I had to step back out the reserves and bide my time, and then they expect you to just absolutely ruin your own age group, and then when you come back as an 18-year-old, you deserve to ruin that. And to a certain extent, I've done really well for a couple of seasons, but when the club was going through a bad time, I felt like he kind of turned his back on me a little bit. And I spoke to his nephew because I wanted to have a conversation with him. I spoke to his nephew, Nick Gray, that was a scholar at Leeds as well, not so long ago. I said, set me up a call with your uncle, man. I want to speak to him. But that never materialised. But anyway, I felt like he turned his back on me a little bit. Whether that was self-inflicted, I didn't follow the book to the dot, I don't think. But yeah, he showed me so much love when I was like young, and then when I started struggling a little bit, I felt like he could have been there for me because we had a really strong relationship early on. But yeah, but anyway, it's going to have to be. I went on loan to Sunderland for supposed to be a couple of months, but it got cut short to 6 weeks because I got called back. But in those 6 weeks, Mick McCarthy made a real impression on me, and it was just because being involved in management myself now and coaching myself, you probably understand a little bit more how difficult it is to identify what makes every individual tick, and that's exactly what your job is. You've got to, you can't just have the same approach as everybody, right? Because you're not going to get the same results from everyone. And what Mick McCarthy, looking back now to certain things he'd done, what he was able to do, he would be able to communicate on any kind of level, and get players ticking how he wanted them to, and it's a really tricky task. So yeah, I think he has to get the nod for that. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Everyone's Leeds apart from the manager.
No, but
go on.
He's a manager that's always is linked to Leeds, isn't he? A lot. Like he were at the game that we played in. He was at a charity game before that.
Was it?
Leeds? Yeah. He was at another Leeds charity game before that, and it's a manager that's, I think, it's like the manager we never had, kind of thing. That I'd have liked Mick McCarthy at Leeds, especially around that time when we were in turmoil.
Yeah, I agree. I think he would have. I think he would have been a great one for the club. It's Yorkshire as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where. Is it Sheffield or is he from Leeds? He's not from Leeds, is he?
No, he's from Barnsley.
Barnsley, that's it. Yeah, that's it. But what he's a funny bloke as well. I don't. I seen a video again on YouTube not so long ago, and he's been interviewed. I think there was late. I don't know what club he was at, but there was late to a game. I don't know if you've seen this. They was late to a game because the coach broke down, and when the interviewer was asking him about it, I think he says, "Do you care to elaborate on the coach?" And he just looked up and he goes, "Well, it won't go any further." Like, I just looked at him and I thought to myself, that's a typical response from him, very good sense of humour, and yeah, he's just a good manager. And that season when I went to Sunderland, they absolutely blitzed the league if I remember, and he dove into like League II and signed a lot of players from lower leagues that season as well. Yeah, so we had a really young squad. And managed to get the best out of them and get them up, yeah.
Yeah, he's revered by Ireland as well, isn't he, for the job that he did there. I think a lot of places that he's been to, the clubs liked him. I think he's always been a good manager. It's like I say, I wish he'd have managed Leeds at that point when we were going through all that mess.
Yeah,
I think he'd have realised it a little bit, and it had worked well with players that we had.
I'd be surprised if the club didn't try and make contact at some point, to be fair, but it weren't an attractive proposition probably is for him at that time, you know, because I think he was doing quite well around those years. I think so. Then again, if Leeds come knocking, there's not going to be many saying no. He's have to be fair.
No, but not at that time, at that point in time with Ken Bates and the way things were going, it were all going downhill.
It would have been a sticky one for sure.
Yeah. What else you got for us, Mike?
You're talking to me then, Craig?
Yeah, I said, what else you got for us?
Yeah. So, your name's the thought part. Your name's the thought part. What's your best and favourite memory from your time, like growing up and being there?
At Thorpe Park?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any funny stories?
I'll give you a good and a bad one. I can't believe it. I hope my parents don't see this because they'll be really disappointed in me. But anyway, so or my ex-partner as well, for that one. Yeah, God, get myself in trouble. But no, so on a Thorpe Arch was great, just in general because everybody's on site, all the youth team. We used to, we'd go in each other's room and have a bit of crack and just do daft things like what lads do, young lads do. But on a Saturday, so if we had a home game on a Saturday with the youth team, and the first team were away, so we didn't have to go to the first team game after our game, we was free. Our Saturdays were quite free at Thorpe Arch. They'd put a bit of lunch on for us, which was mandatory after a game. But after that, we was free to do what we wanted. But we had a curfew on a Saturday, which was, I think it was 10 or 10:30. That's what time we had to be in, which was obviously pretty early. I was always somebody, and there was quite a few of us. I was always somebody that didn't mind letting my hair down. What you make of that is is up to you. I enjoyed letting my hair down. I wasn't opposed to meeting different females. Like I'm obviously settled now. I'm a man, but I did love, like when I was young, I loved women. I really did. So after a match, we would a home match. We would sometimes, not all the time. It wasn't religious, but we would go straight into a town. In fact, it's a place called Kirkstall. I don't know if that's still going round there. I think it's just past Headingley, maybe. Kirkstall, does that ring a bell?
I know the place.
Yeah, so we go. There was a bar there called Rose's Bar, and we'd used to get there because we had a curfew for 10 o'clock. We'd have to get out pretty much straight away. So we ordered our taxis for after lunch, lined our bellies, and went straight out there. I was obviously on the blower to some girls that I knew. Got them there, and after about 3 hours and it was quite quick. It was quick because we was limited, so we drank quite quickly, and we ordered taxis for 9:30. I'm not going to incriminate the other person. That's not fair on him. But it got to 9:30 for our taxis, and obviously me and the other lad was like, we ain't fucking going back, mate. We are not going back. It's way too early. And we tied up. We'll deal with the consequences tomorrow.
Yeah.
We've just stayed out with these two girls, and then we've got a taxi from Roses to Majestics. Do you remember Majestic nightclub in Leeds? Yeah. So we've gone there. Still not a care in the world. It's got to about 2:30 in the morning, and now we are struggling. Like we can't even see properly. I'm dragging this out, but it is one of my fun. It's not a great story, but it's one of my fun memories. So we've looked at the clock. It's about 2:30, I think, something like that, and we thought, right, I think it's time now. We weren't really getting what was anticipated from our females that accompanied us, but that's another story. So now we've got to make our way back to Thorpe Arch, and it's a struggle. Nobody's picking us up because we're too drunk. In the end, we had to put our money together and pack some random bloke in a truck. I think we had to pay him about 150 quid to get back from town to Thorpe Arch. All around there, all around Thorpe Arch, there was just cameras everywhere, and the doors are locked by a certain time. The doors are locked. You just can't get in. So, and in this time, there was someone called Mike. There's someone that come and checked that everybody was in their room for 10 o'clock or 10:30 was a cut off to get in your room. So you're in for 10 in your own room, so 10:30, something like that. And he used to come round, knock, and make sure you're there. And I had a phone call off my roommate that was out with us earlier, but went back, and he says, "So, Mickey, not Mike. Mickey's coming round now. What do I say to him?" I said, "Larry, you cannot open that door, mate. You cannot open that door." And the next thing, he says, "Sorry, what do you mean?" I said, "You're going to just have to pretend you're asleep." So the next thing I know, I'm on the phone to him, and I can just hear boom, boom, boom on the door, and I thought, "Fucking hell, I'm done for. I'm done for." We'd already been warned about 12 months previously, I reckon, about the youth team going out drinking, because we used to go out to Wetherby and either sneak in pubs or go to the spa and get some drinks and take them down the canal. So we'd already been pre-warned. So I was pretty worried at this point, and it was going on for ages. There's no way, if he was sleeping, just put it this way, there's no way he's not waking up. Impossible. So that was going on, and in the end, the knocking stopped, and we're on our way back, me and the other lad. But to get to the rooms, you had to go past where Mickey lived, so that was just not an option. We couldn't go that way. So have you ever been to Thorpe Arch, any of you?
Yeah.
So when you first turn in, you can take a right, which is where we normally have to go, or the taxis would take you. Or if you go straight up, was where the pitches were and the changing room sort of thing. So what we've had to do, I still don't know to this day. In fact, I need to phone him and ask him this, how this happened, because how I've got no idea how we got on the roof. We had to go around the other side, jump on the roof, climb over, and then get my roommate to come and open a fire door for us, and that's how we got in. And the next morning, we used to have to be up at a certain time, so Mickey would come round again to make sure everybody's up and make sure your room had to be tidy. So when he got to my room, obviously he could probably smell the alcohol on me. I don't know, but he knocked on the door, and I just opened. I said, "Sorry, Mick, we was flat out. Sorry about that." And he just looked at me, winked, and he said, "I'll fucking get you next time," like that. And I never heard anything about it again. But everybody knew what happened, but there was no evidence, at least, so we got away with that one. Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the fondest memories. It's not I don't know how to articulate that. It's not a good thing looking back. Like it was a moment for us. Yeah, it was a moment. Yeah.
We've all been.
Yeah.
Too many times.
But
That's what ended my. It's kind of what ended me at Rotherham when I were only like 14, 15 then. But mine were not incriminating, not drinking at that age, by the way.
Oh.
But mine was just the love of playing football. Like I got my YTS like ripped up because I just couldn't stop playing football. Like when your mate's dad would be like, "Oh, we need you for this cup game. Can you come and play? Because we're short and we need to win it." So then it'd be like, "All right," and then I end up getting like stood on by some guy that was twice the size of me, and so playing a level above, but it broke my foot. And then I have to explain to Rotherham how it's got broken, and
yeah,
it's not.
It's frowned upon. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I get it. It's like, I've been in them situations where you know, yeah. When I was in the army, I used to do that. You know, sneak out because we had curfews.
Yeah.
Getting back.
Oh,
You
it's
could only,
similar, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, you could only have 2 drinks. When you went out, you could only have 2 drinks. You had to be back for a certain time. And we went to a kebab shop after. Oh, I can't remember how much we drank, but we were like squirting garlic sauce into his mouth so that when we were lined up, when we got to the gate, they'd line us up and smell alcohol to see if we stunk of it.
Yeah.
So we were getting the smell of garlic before than anything. But yeah,
it's worth it at the time. It's worth it.
oh yeah, it is. You don't. It's better when you're that age. It's better to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not really somebody that looks back with too many regrets. I look at it as lessons, and yeah, I would tweak a few things for sure. But I wouldn't. I don't look back with too many regrets. No.
No, you can't do. You can't do, can you?
Mm. Probably a more positive one would obviously be because obviously the training ground's Thorpe Park, that's what it is. Training with the first team when I was 16 was like just like so I look. I even think back. I can remember it so clear because it was just you just don't ever expect it to be you sort of thing, if that makes sense. In my head, I'm gonna come up to Leeds for a couple of years, have some fun, play some footy, and then I'll be released and then go back home. You know that weren't. I'm not saying that's what I was telling myself, but that's normally what happens, right? That's normally what happens. So, but I had such a positive start, and I dropped lucky because on a Saturday morning, if we had a home fixture, the reserves would train. Anybody that weren't involved with the first team would train in the morning at Thorpe Arch, and then they would just come and some of the players would come and watch our match after they'd probably finish in time to watch the second half or something like that. Now, this was our first game of the season for the under-17s, and we're playing on the front pitch at Thorpe Arch, and we was 2-0 down at half-time to Bolton, who, no disrespect, shouldn't have been beating our team. We had quite a strong team for our age group. So it was 2-0 down in the first half. We got an absolute rollicking at half time. And by the time we'd come out for the second half, the reserves had finished. So the reserve team manager watched and some of the players watched. And we won 4-2 in the end. And I'd scored a couple and I think I set a couple up as well. So I had and this is why having that little bit of luck is so important. I just happened to have like a really good second half. I was non-existent in the first. I have a really good second half when the reserve team manager was there. So the next thing that was on the Saturday. On the Monday, I was training with the reserves, and in preparation for the game on the Tuesday. So obviously that then propelled me to start training with the first team, you know, with all the big hitters, and it was just it was a bit strange because the first team trained on the front pitch where it was a big thing for us to play our matches there, and then I've all of a sudden gone from playing my matches there and it being a really big thing to just training on it with the first team and it being supposed to be normal, you know. But yeah, that was the special moments. Yeah, special times.
Yeah, I mean, you can't look back on too harsh for yourself, can you? Because I mean, around that time, the youngsters that were coming through as well in your age group were. It's you see the careers that some of them have gone on to do. It's you're up against a lot of.
It weren't even just that age group, the youngers as well. I actually went to a wedding, and I think we worked of one of our youth team. A lad, you probably won't have ever heard this name. His name was Graham Porter, and his nickname's Basha, Scouse lad. Never heard of him, right? Unbelievable player. And big things were expected of him. But yeah, we went to our wedding. a few of us went to his wedding a couple of months back, and we worked it out. We hadn't seen each other in about 24 years, something like that. And we was discussing the play. There's so many that like talented boys that just got nowhere near. It's frightening. Frightening. Remember Jamie McMaster? You ever remember Jamie McMaster?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Honest to God. Like, how that kid just wasn't a top footballer is beyond me. Like, such a like talented boy. But then there was quite a few, like the strikers, like Bashar Graham Port was a striker. Another lad that was at the wedding, Dale Crawford, striker, very good goal scorer. But there was just so many. Do you remember Tony Ackworth, Lee Matthews? Like, these are all guys that are not even sort of getting anywhere near the first team, but they're just so talented. It's crazy.
Yeah. It happens a lot, though, doesn't it? Like, it's like to get. There is a lot of luck involved in getting to that next, to get into, into that situation, because, like I spoke to you about it, didn't I? At that game, the guy that I went to school with, Jason Blunt, who was there a bit before you. Yeah, he were another one that you could tell at schoolboy level, you could tell he were better than the rest, like kind of thing, And we're no surprise that he go play for. He went to Leeds and got a scholarship there and what have you. But to say that he never, I think he got a couple of appearances in first team, but his name was never out there. Like, if you spoke that name to someone, they probably don't even know.
They wouldn't know. Yeah.
It's, but like that's what I mean. It's the level that you've got to. It's just not so much how good you are; it's that you've got that bit of luck as well. Because you just get a lot of forgotten about.
Yeah, I mean, one of my I don't know how to say it. Like, one of the worst moments for me was because if you score, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to stay involved, but it gives you a hell of a better chance, right? And I can remember coming on against Fulham away, and we was 2-0 down, and there weren't long to go left in the game. But I've come on and the ball fell perfect, absolutely perfect. I think I was about 8 yards out, perfect centre of the goal, and I was free scoring in the reserves at this moment, so confidence was really high, and I've just like volleyed it, and it's just absolutely crashed off the crossbar and come out, and I was gutted. Probably a little bit selfishly, I was thinking more about myself, because I don't think we wouldn't. The game was dead anyway. But after the whistle went and I was walking off the pitch, Eddie Gray just looked at me, and this is what I was saying about the way our relationship was just a bit different. He just looked at me and went, "That was a chance." And that's all he said to me on the way back. Nothing more. I don't even think he looked at me again, But if that whistles into the back of the net, which it should have done, and that's on me, you just never know. Things might have materialised a little bit differently. You just never know. You need to when you get it, especially as an attacking player. If you get an opportunity to play, you've got to get your name on the score sheet.
Yeah.
Or do something a little bit special and not score, So yeah, that was probably a just not having that little bit of luck on my side.
Yeah.
My mum and dad always say it again, sorry. We all make mistakes.
Your eyes light up and you think this is a moment, and then it doesn't actually go as you want it to go.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, such is life.
Yeah. Good stories though, then, mate. Good stories.
All right.
What was you about to say about your mum and dad then?
No, I was just going to say the rents, like, they always say to me, like, I don't know why, because I'm actually I was a good kid. I like to have a little bit of a drink from time to time, but apart from that, I was a good kid. But they always say to me, like, I don't think that was your calling. I think they think I would have gone AWOL a little bit if I had access to more resources, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think they think I'm like I'm really not though. I'm like mega chilled and always have been. Like I say, I'll have a bit of a drink. I don't know. They might be right. They might be right. I don't know. You know. Yeah. But yeah,
They usually are. Right. Before we leave this, I want to know 2 of the hardest players you played against. So a defender that you've had that's obviously like marked you or anything like that, and just on the pitch as a whole.
I would always say one because to be honest, I didn't have much to do with him when I was on the pitch. It was just my the first bit of contact that I'd had in the Premier League. So I made my debut in the game where we beat Charlton 6-1. So it was a lovely game to come on to. To be fair, no pressure, just going in, have a little bit of a run around. I think I come on for like 10-15 minutes, something like that. But I was obviously absolutely over the moon to making my debut. I think it was a throw in, and I come on for Harry Kewell, and again try to take bits out of Smithy's game. Smithy had done this thing where he would put his arm behind his back and grab hold of the defender's shirt, and I'd practice this. I used to try and take, like I said earlier, I used to try and take bits out of his game. So I've thought, right, okay, yeah, I'm going to try this now. This is my chance to put things into practice. We've got a throw in, and I've got hold of Richard Rufus. Do you remember Richard Rufus, the big black ball guy? So he was massive. He was massive as well, by the way. I was a scrawny little shit at this point. Put my arm down, grabbed hold of his shirt, and he's just gone bang right in my ribs. Nobody's seen it, and I just thought, like, is this what it is? But he knew. I think he knew that it was my debut, and it was just like, no, son, don't come it. This is the like under 18s or reserve stuff. Like this is the real stuff now. Yeah, so that was like I would never ever forget that. That was a bit of a bit of a crazy one because it really hurt. To be honest, it really hurt, mate. So yeah, I don't know. That's the reason why I didn't have much to do with him. I didn't get back by him after that. So he would be one. Sol Campbell or Keown, but I'm gonna go Keown. Horrible.
Yeah,
Man.
I've heard stories about Keown being horrible.
Yeah, but you know what? He was just but that was his game, right? That aggression that he had, and you know, it was part of his makeup, and I God, as if I'm admitting all this, man. But anyway, I'm going to tell you. So that game when we beat Arsenal 3-2 that season, like we had a little bit of argy-bargy, and he actually got a yellow card for going through the back of me near the end of the game. And little scrawny me stands up, giving it the big one, as I did. That was, again, trying to take bits out of Smithy's game. And I can remember he had this look, man, and I didn't like it. I thought to myself, fuck me, is he going to get me after this game? I'll watch it back, and I that game sometimes, and I think to myself, where am I? How come I'm not celebrating with the lad? I remember it's because I fucked off down the tunnel straight away because I was scared that he was going to get me. Yeah. So that's the reason why, and I'm gutted because it was what a time to go and celebrate in front of the fans, and I'm not there, and it was because I shit myself. So I thought, now I'm going to get back in the changing rooms because if he gets his hands on me, I'm done for. But nah, he was a fantastic player, a good player, but he was very tough, yeah.
Yeah, Ian Wright's talked about him, and saying that even in training he's like that. Like in training, he won't let you do anything. So.
Yeah, they players like that, they just can't help it. It's just that's the way they train. It's the way they play. They're not going to deviate away from that for anybody, you know. But at the same time, you want them in your team. You want people like that by your side, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
Craig, anything you'd like to add before we end this? I know we could carry on talking for
carry on
hours.
all night, but I think hopefully we'll be able to get you back, Simon, to do some more because there's a lot more we could talk about. But you know, we've had over an hour now, so we'll let you get off.
Anytime, guys. If I'm free and you guys are free, no problem at all. I hope I don't know, made it a little bit interested at least. I don't know.
Really enjoyed you being on, mate. It's been fantastic for me anyway. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm there, obviously. In the comments, though, let us know if you've got any more questions for Simon, because we will get him on at another point and we can go through those questions with him. Simon, anything you'd like to add before we do leave this?
Literally just looked at myself for probably the second time. If anybody's thinking I look a bit weird, it's because I've got a impacted, I think that's the right terminology, impacted wisdom tooth, and that's why my cheek is a little bit puffy. Yeah, this isn't just my normal face, all right? It's all swollen. All right, sorry, that was it. That's it. But no, thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate that.
No worries. We might be back for a Fulham preview. If not, we will be back after the Fulham game for the obvious match review and player rating. Great, thanks for joining as always. Simon, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Leeds.
Top guys.